Hi Sharks, we wanted to show you the correct letter formation that we need to see when you do your letter practice every day. So Miss Farris is going to show you through writing up here on the board how the letter should be formed for A through Z, and she's going to do it in two parts. She's going to start with capitals and then do some lowercase with part of the alphabet and then finish going back to capitals and then lowercase. So we want to show you that we always start our letters from the top. So on the first one, you see the letter A at the top, and Miss Farris is going to show you exactly how to write your A's.
Okay, so we have our capital A, and you can see the dotted letter here. And whenever you see the dotted letter, you're always going to trace that one. And you still do it top to bottom, because when we write top to bottom, left to right. So I'm going to start with this one, the capital A, and I'm going to start up here, and we call this top line the headline. This dotted line, we call it our waistline. It's kind of right in the middle. And the bottom is the foot line. That's the bottom. That's where most letters stop, but not all. So if I'm going to start this A, I'm going to follow the dots as close as I can, top to bottom, left to right. Now, whenever we're doing our letters, just like with words, we have spaces between our letters. And I usually say about a finger space, and I'm going to put my pen at the top, and I go straight down. I take my pen off, top to bottom, left to right. And I'm going to do 3, top to bottom, left to right, making sure I have those space in between each letter. So you can see they're going to look a little different, but I did my best to get them as close as possible. So now I'm going to come to the capital B. Okay, same thing. I'm going to trace. I start at the top. I go straight down. I come off. I go back to the top, around and down. Make sure I have that space, top to bottom, around and around we go. Top to bottom, around and around we go. Now remember, we don't start at the bottom. And we can always tell because our letters aren't straight and tall. So when we get them, we can tell if we start at the bottom because our letters aren't quite formed the right way. We don't have straight lines like we should when we need them. Some letters don't start right at the top. We start a little bit below, but we always go up to the top before we go down. So this letter is the capital C. So I'm going to start, you can see I'm going to put a dot where I start. It's kind of halfway between the top and the middle. So now I'm going to go up and I'm going to touch that top, around and up. So you can see I have to give myself room. Up, down, and up again. Make sure we're having spaces between those letters every time. And each time I write my letter, I see if I can do it better than the last time. So now you can see I have my spaces between my letters. I put a dot where I started. We go up to the top and then down below. Now, this is a D. D says D, capital D. And D is really just a straight line and it looks like it has a big belly. So I'm going to trace it starting on the top, that headline, straight down and around. Make sure I have that space starting at the top, straight down and around. Space, straight down and around. Straight down and around. So you can see I try to stop right at that foot line with all of my letters. Okay, the next one is the letter E. Now, if we look at the E, it has a headline, one on the waistline and one on the foot line. They almost disappear. If you do your lines right, you almost don't even see them with a pencil. So I'm going to start just like the D. It's a straight line down. I go across. The middle one's a little bit shorter and across. I'm using a marker. You guys will be using a pencil, but I want to make sure that you can see what I'm doing. So straight line down, across, a little bit shorter, and across. Straight line down, across, across, and across. And I can fit one more on here, across, across, and across. So you can see that each one of the lines going across, they almost blend in with the headline, the waistline, and the foot line. And the F is just like the E, but it's missing one line. So with the F, I start at the headline, straight down, across, and across. And you notice this middle line is a little bit shorter. Make sure I have that space, across, down, across, and across, down, across, and across, down, across, and across. All right, so we've got our first 6 letters, A, B, C, D, E, and F. Okay, what comes next? I'm going to move my paper up so we can see. It's going to be blurry maybe for a minute. Now we have the letter G. The letter G is kind of tricky, but it's kind of like a C. I started in the same place with the C. I go up to the headline. I go around. Now, if it was a C, I would stop there, but then I go just across. So it's kind of got like a little mouth on it going across. So I'm going to start here, up, around, just like a C, and across. Up, around, a C, and across. Up, around, and across. And you know what? My last one, like I said, remember I told you I try to do better each time. My last one is my best one. All right, the next letter after G comes H. H is so easy to write. It's just like sticks connected. So I straight top to bottom, connect. Top to bottom, connect. Top to bottom, connect. Top to bottom, connect. And you want to make sure that those lines are touching that headline, touching that foot line, because otherwise your letters are going to be floating, and letters don't float. All right, now we have G, H, next letter is I. So I is a straight line down. Then he needs a hat across, some feet at the bottom. Straight line down, hat across, feet at the bottom. Straight line down, hat across, feet at the bottom. One more. I. Nice straight lines. The next one is a capital J. Now the capital J, same thing. I start on that headline. You can see my dotted line. I'm going to follow it. And when I follow the dots, I try to keep my pen just on the dot and see if I can make it the dots disappear. So I go down, up, across, down, up, across, down, up, across. Now, I'm only doing 3, but I know on your papers, we ask you to do at least 10. You might be able to do even more. Make sure you're leaving those spaces, though. So we have G, H, I, J. The next letter is K. Now, K is kind of tricky. Capital K is easier, but when we get to lowercase k, you're going to see how they're different. They're alike, but they're different. So same thing. I go straight line down. Now I come back up to the headline, and I go at an angle. I go across and down. Okay? Straight line down. I'm going to come across and down. Straight line down, across and down. One more I can fit, straight line down, across and down. So that's pretty easy. Nice straight lines, not too hard. L is even easier. It's a straight line down and then across. Straight line down, then across. Straight line down, then across. One last one, straight line down, and then across. And remember, those bottom lines almost disappear. Now, the next 2 letters are where we're really seeing people having trouble with, because we're seeing a lot of friends starting them at the bottom. And I'll show you how to do it correctly first, and then I'm going to show you what we're seeing. I'm going to move it up so we can see it nice and clearly. Okay, so with an M, we're seeing a lot of people go up, down, up, down. That's wrong. We don't want to see that because you're not getting nice straight lines. We go down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down. So you can see my lines have stayed nice and straight. And we make sure we have this V in the middle of each one. What we're seeing, and I'm going to do a little one below, we're seeing this. And you can see when I do that, my lines aren't really straight, and my V in that middle isn't quite right. So always start top to bottom, top to bottom. Same thing with the N. We're going to start top to bottom. I have to lift my pencil up. I go down and then up. Top to bottom, down, up, top to bottom, down, up, top to bottom, down, up. So now I'm going to zoom out so you can see, and it's going to take a minute for us to get that focused. Let's see, I think I'll go up. There we go. And you can see all of our letters, all of our capital letters, A through N. And let's say them real quickly. Here we go. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N. So now, those are all of our capital letters, A through N. Now we're going to go back and look at our lowercase letters. So I'm going to switch my papers out, and it's going to be blurry for a minute, but we'll give it a minute to adjust. And now I'm going to bring my lowercase letters in. And it's going to start the same way. Here we go. Okay. All right, so now I think we're ready. And I'm going to start with, I'm going to find Mrs. Lourenco's favorite color. I used my favorite color last time.
Do you remember what my favorite color is?
Do you remember?
Yeah, it's purple. Purple is
All
my favorite color of all time.
All right. So I want to show you the lowercase letters now, and sometimes they're a little bit more difficult. Now the A, if we look at that A, it looks like a circle with a stick, but I'm going to show you a little bit different way. So when I trace it, I'm going to start right here on this dot. I'm going to go around, I'm going to touch that dot, and I'm going to come down. You can see it when I do it on my own. Around, touch, down. Around, up, and down. Around, up, and down. But you notice I'm still starting at the top. I don't start all the way at the headline, but the top of a lowercase a is on the waistline, the dotted line. I have room to do one more. Around, up, and down. Pretty simple. All right, the next one is the lowercase b. Pretty easy. Straight down and around. Straight down and around. Straight down and around. Straight down and around. So you can see what we don't want to see are any B's like this. Can you see the difference? I don't have nice straight lines. I'm not even touching the right line. So that one's wrong. I wouldn't do that one. Cross that one right out. Now our lowercase c looks just like a capital C, but it shrunk. This time, I'm below the dotted line. I go up to the top and around. Below the dotted line, up and touch and down. Up and touch and down. Up and touch and around. Up and touch and around. So it looks like a capital C, but just shorter. It doesn't go above that dotted line. Now, B's and D's. Wow, they're almost the same. But a B points to the right, a D points to the left. So this time, I'm going to go straight down, up, and around, just going in the other direction. Down, up, and around, down, up, and around, down, up, and around. Okay, see those nice straight lines. O or E, that's one of our hardest letters to write, I think. What we need to do is we start this one, we kind of start a little bit different. I'm going to go across, and you can see it's kind of halfway between the dotted line and the foot line. I go up like a C and around. Across, up to the dotted line and around. Across, up to the dotted line and around. Ooh, that one was pretty good. Let's see, one more. Across, up to the dotted line and around. So they don't go above the dotted line or below. Now we have our letter F. F starts just like a capital C. We go up, around, and it's a straight line and across. Up, around, down, straight line across. Up, around, down, straight line across. Up, around, down, straight line across. So you can see they're a little different, but they're still just the way they should be. All right, I'm going to scoot up just a little. Now, I was talking about most letters stop at this foot line. Well, look at this one. This is the letter G. The G goes into the basement. That means it goes below this bottom line. But I still start at the top. I start on the dotted line. I go around. I stop there, up and down. So let me show you again. Around, up, and down. Around, up, and down. One more. Around, up, and down. And each one, you notice this back line, it's a nice straight line when you come down. Okay, G, after G comes H. H is a straight line down, up, and around. Straight line down, up, and around. Now, if you notice, my pencil or pen doesn't come off the paper. Straight line down, up, and around. Straight line down, up, and around. So it starts at the top and ends at that bottom. So we have G, H, I. Now, I is another really easy letter, but this letter we've noticed a lot of our friends have been doing a bubble at the top or a circle. It's not a bubble or a circle, it is simply just a dot. So I have a straight line down with a little dot. Straight line down, dot. Straight line down, dot. Straight line down, dot. There are no circles. Straight line down and a dot. One more, straight line down and a dot. We know those circles are really fun, but when you're doing your writing, we need to just see that dot. Now we have G, H, I, J. J, just like the G, goes into the basement. This time it's a straight line down with a hook at the bottom and a dot, just like the I. Straight line down with a hook at the bottom and a dot at the top. Straight line down, hook at the bottom and a dot at the top. Straight line down, hook at the bottom and a dot at the top. So you can see these go into the basement just like the letter G. All right, I'm going to move on up because we have G, H, I, J, K. Now K, I told you, is really tricky.
When we make our K's, friends, we're going to start at the top and go down just like Miss Farris said, but then we're going to go at the dotted line and we're going to kick it in and kick it out.
Okay, so here we go. Straight line down, kick it in, kick it out. Now notice that doesn't go above the dotted line. Straight line down, kick it in, kick it out. Straight line down, kick it in, kick it out. Straight line down, kick it in, kick it out. So it looks like a capital K in some respects, but this part is shorter. It stays below that dotted line. Oh, and if you look up above, you can see, oh, we'll have to show you above. We have the letters above. So when we're done, we'll show you the alphabet above, if we can. All right, easiest letter there is, it's an L. And L is a straight line down. A lowercase l and a number 1 look exactly the same. Straight line down, top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom. Now, the way I always know the difference between an L and a 1 is when I'm writing words. I know I'm not using numbers, I'm using letters. The last 2 letters that we're going to do for now are M and N, and they're kind of similar too. So we have M. I start at the dotted line, down, up, around, and around. 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 So my pencil it starts, but then it doesn't come off until I get the very end. Now an N is half of an M. So I start the same, down, up, and around, down, up, and around, down, up, and around, down, up, and around. So now you've seen lowercase letters all the way from A to N. So hopefully now you know exactly how to do your letters just like we want to see them. All right, friends. Thank you. Have a great day. Keep practicing.